I was born in Ghana and raised in the great city of East St. Louis. My father being a Ghanaian composer and drummer, Weedie Braimah, and my mother being a drummer, a jazz drummer as well, named Ann Morris. Now, how they got together was, the truth was music. I am because of music. I am because of the drum. The drum actually brought my mother and my father together. Hence, that's how I am who I am and how I became. I grew up in a house of musicians. Also grew up in the house understanding that music will be a role that would take me around the world and back again. And a piece of goat skin and wood will be my transporter to these worlds that I've seen. My father worked with a group called the Lincoln Jazz Band, led by a young man who played saxophone named Ron Carter, the saxophonist. And Ron knew a lady by the name of Ann Morris, who was an amazing drummer. And she was a female drummer. And that time, you didn't see that many women playing drums. And she was amazing. People were saying, who is this lady? But she learned from a man by the name of Nathaniel Weedie Morris, who is from the wonderful and great, great city of New Orleans. So my grandfather met a lady by the name of Gloria Dolly Logan, which was my grandmother. When they were traveling and going from city to city, they moved to the great city of East St. Louis, where they had 5 children. The 4th being born was my mother, Ann Morris. She saw my grandfather as a hero because at that time he was working with Oscar Peterson, he was working with Jackie Davis and the Big Bang Hammond, he was working with all these great artists. And so my grandfather wanted my uncles and my aunts and my mother to be musicians. None of them wanted to play. Only one, the wild child, my mother. And out of all the instruments she wanted to play, she wanted to play drums. She started working with different musicians, had an opportunity to play with James Brown. And after the passing of my grandfather, she took a pause on music. As she took that pause, something made her come back. And guess who it was? It was the Lincoln High School Jazz Band director, Ron Carter, said, hey, there's this gentleman coming to town from Africa. He's gonna be working with the school, with the young folks, teaching about African music, writing, doing some compositions. And she said, well, I haven't played since my father died. She said, well, you should come. You need to help him because you understand this world, and I think it'll be great. And when my father saw my mother, at first, he was a very proud Ghanaian. He says, oh, no way, women don't play drums. She began to play. She started playing the voicings of her father, the voices of New Orleans, the voices of the world, the voices of Africa. And from that day, what united those two people was music. That was the love that became what happened to me. One time as being a young boy, my mother told me a very, very amazing thing. And she said, for every album that you buy, and this was when I could buy albums and cassettes. And she said to me, for every album that you buy and every cassette that you get, every artist that you listen to, you end up working and play with them. And as a child, you were like, whatever. And for every album, every cassette, every CD that I ever bought, I end up working with my heroes and performing and learning and studying and eating food with them, sharing conversations, sharing stories with them. And one of those people was a djembe fola, and one of the greatest djembe folas of our time. And one of my heroes is a man named Mamadi Keita. Mamadi Keita is considered the greatest djembe fola of our time. And he's one of my heroes. And once again, some person that calls me son, and I call him father, as well as another great djembe fola is Famadu Konate, as well as another great djembe fola, and one of my godfathers is a man by the name Abdul Doumbia, as well as another Musa Traore, as well as another Morcham, as well as another Meshach Silas, may he rest in peace. So some of these musicians are here, some of them are not here, but all of these people have implemented a life for me that open up doors for me that mean the world to me. And to this day, I am humbled that I'm here to be able to teach and give this knowledge that I've only had from them and other great musicians to show to you guys out there.